We are now going to talk to the youth. They are activists that are campaigning for a smoke-free generation. And this as we start wrapping up from this morning's broadcast outside the 17th World Conference on Tobacco or Health. So let's find out a little bit from the youth how they feel about smoking and how they're trying to change the mindset of a generation, which I can't imagine is a very easy task. I've got Jonathan, I've got Inga, and I've already forgotten your name.
Langa.
Langa, thank you very much. So talk to me a little bit about what it is that you sort of do to try and convince the youth not to take up smoking.
Well, basically we use all the avenues that we can to basically highlight exactly what it is that the tobacco industry is trying to do with the youth in our country, targeting them to try take up smoking. And so we're trying to get a group of youth to not even take it up to begin with. Yeah. That's what tobacco-free generation is all about, getting youth to not even start smoking.
Well, I mean, that is the ideal case, because I think if you don't start smoking, it's something that you can't become addicted to, because it is. I mean, it's a known fact. You start smoking, and it is a very hard addiction to get over. So how are you trying to convince the youth to just not go there?
So basically, it's the matter of a mind shift. We're not trying to get current smokers to stop smoking. As you said, it's a difficult habit to break, but we're trying to get the current youth and a certain age population group that we're targeting to involve them in the action of a tobacco-free generation, which would involve educating them and advocating for a tobacco-free, healthy lifestyle, and not to get them to start smoking to start off with. So it's not to get current smokers to stop smoking, and it's not to victimize them or get children to stand up against their parents, but rather to get the children involved in activist movement amongst each other, and then breaking the bad habit at the source and the root of the problem.
So it's stopping it before you even get to a point of having to give up. How successful is it? I mean, is it working? How long have you guys been trying to do this for?
So in Africa it's been running for a very short period of time, but elsewhere, particularly in Singapore, they've had much more success than we have. They're targeting people born in the year 2000 and beyond to not be able to access cigarettes. They believe that it's much easier for someone selling cigarettes to quickly look at an ID, see the year 2000 or indeed any other year, and say, okay, you're born before this date, we can sell these cigarettes, and you're born after, we can't sell these cigarettes. So obviously with all the advocacy and the education, there needs to be a legislative push by governments to realize this fully.
I'm not sure that works, though. You know, just because it's illegal to smoke under a certain age, you find a way. You find a way to get a cigarette. I mean, say your parents smoke, you just grab a smoke out of their box and you'll have it. And the reality is the access to it is there whether you want to or not. But what is it that you tell the youth? How do you know, the youth are invincible. Remember that. I mean, you're young, you're invincible. Nothing's ever going to happen to you. You're not going to be one of those cancer patients lying on a bed with oxygen on your face trying to help you breathe. You're young. You're indispensable. How do you try and convince the youth otherwise?
So that's exactly the thing. Once one, or at the point that one starts smoking, they don't see that. They don't see the cancer patient at the end of the road. They're just there. It's cool. Let's take this up. But as Inga was saying, our president, it's a mind shift. So we're trying to get into them to tell us really as part of the youth that, listen, we're here together trying to re-look at this, trying to show you that this is what's cool. Not smoking is what's cool. And the important thing, Dr. Kong also speaks about it in his whole tobacco-free generation program, is it must come from the youth. It must come from them. So if they're the ones pushing it, they're the ones that are going to actually live up to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good mind shift, because I mean, I remember when I was a lot younger, I actually forced myself to smoke. I never necessarily enjoyed it, but it was the cool thing to do. Like all the students and all the guys that I was hanging around with, they all smoked. So I thought, obviously, this is the right thing to do. So let me smoke. So if you inculcate this knowledge that no, guys, it is not cool to smoke. In fact, that is the uncoolest thing you could possibly do. Are the youth listening, though? Even though it seems that they're not. Do you think it's having an effect?
I definitely do. It's like you said, and like Lanka as well said, that no one sees the end picture of taking up smoking as a habit. We don't foresee being the patient in the bed, lying there with lung cancer and an oxygen mask until you are.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that this is impacting the youth, and from what we've been able to do thus far and within this conference period as well, we have definitely seen the local youth and also global youth reacting to this, and they're responding to our cry to actually formalize and create this tobacco-free generation. By we're not just talking to them, because you have to reach youth at a youth level as well as scholars at a scholar level, and that's why we're not only using speeches, but we're also using videos and digital media. We're also using pictures and telling stories and role play, which we found was really valuable, especially in our local population. They find the role play especially of help, and even if we don't reach all the youth at once, making the difference in one or two would already perpetuate, them affecting or helping each other and advocating amongst each other. So if we can't reach a full population, making the difference in the smallest community would be of great, improvement in reaching the goal towards a tobacco-free generation.
Yeah, it certainly would, and I think that's the idea, is if you can get the youth, it's the future generations that are going to benefit from all of this, because, years ago, smoking was cool, it was good for you. Nobody saw the bad risks of smoking, but now the more education that comes out, the more data that's available, you're realizing, no guys, this is not the way, and hopefully it'll work. But listen, we thank you. Thank you for being great examples for the youth, and keep up the amazing work that you're doing. Langa, Inga and Jonathan, thank you very, very much for being our guests here on the program. Well, I think it's a good way to wrap up this particular broadcast, but remember that we are going to continue coming to you live from this particular gathering. It's the first time that it's been held on the African continent here in South Africa. I'm amazed by the amount of people that are here, and particularly international delegates. So it's a great thing financially as well for South Africa to be hosting yet another massive conference. I wrap up from here. I thank you very much for watching us, and stay tuned to SABC News for all the updates from this particular conference. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you so much to Leanne with that eye-opening broadcast, and thank you so much to you at home for having watched Morning Live. We'll see you bright and early for the Thursday edition of the show. You have yourself a fantastic day.